I've never tried a timed sketch before, but I saw on someone else's YouTube channel, and I will find the link, sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, that they quite often did like a 10-minute sketch. And it was really cool what they could achieve in that time. I think 10 minutes would be quite good going for me. So I'm not going to aim for that. 20 minutes, I think maybe is a little more realistic. Let's see, who knows? So I've picked this picture. It's obviously somewhere in Cornwall. And the reason I picked it is I am a sucker for bunting. So I thought that was really nice. And there's a few houses, it's quite complicated. And I thought, well, that will give me a chance for some simplification. I like the road leading us in and makes you wonder what's around the corner. So that was nice. Really like this light fitting up there. So that's why I picked it. Those are the things I like. I'm going to use my little moleskine sketchbook. I quite often do little bits of urban sketching, bits of line and wash. Never a timed piece. They just take as long as I've got or until something moves. Oh, look, more bunting. I told you I like bunting. Just a few different things there. Most of the time there's a bit of colour on. Sometimes it's just monochrome or another monochrome. And, it's a bit of fun. If you haven't got a little sketchbook like this, use any sort of drawing paper that is sturdy enough to take a bit of colour if that's what you're planning on putting on. I like to work, as you can see, right across the fold. That gives me some flexibility. So I am going to put my picture there so I can see it. And I'm going to use fine liner pens. I think I'll do quite a continuous line because that's a very flowing, quick way of working. I'll work in some pen, and if I've got some time, splash on a bit of colour and see where that takes us. Gotta have coloured bunting, surely. I do think if you're doing a relatively fast piece like this, then keeping it to a simple size is probably a good idea. So I'm going to start off with a 0.2, and I might even try and find a little clock. So I think I will just start by getting that line in. That restricts our eye over one side, and I will get this wonderful lamp in. Oh gosh, I've already done it very wonky, haven't I? Actually, I feel a little bit nervous doing a timed one. It's say I've never done it before, so well, what's the worst that can go wrong with this? And if it does go terribly wrong, obviously I'll just never post the video. That's simple. So let's think about perspective. Haven't got time to be measuring, but I have got time to be observing and looking at how things are relative to each other. As you can see, I am doing some continuous line, but I'm not being overly strict about it. Continuous line is nice because it gets your eye flowing round the piece, and it gives a certain energy and a looseness to your work, which is rather enjoyable. But you don't have to do it if you don't like. And the good thing is that you can do a bit of continuous line, you can take your pen off, you can cheat because you're not cheating, it's just for you. I'm looking that the buildings are obviously getting bigger as they come towards us. I'm looking at how they relate to each other. So is the chimney higher than this dormer window? Things like that. Haven't got time to be doing all that measuring malarkey, which I might do usually, because, well, I just haven't got time. Places to go, people to see. There's a window here, and we've got a bit of roof action there. So it's fun to go straight in with the pen. It's something that I try to encourage people to do anyway, because if you are sketching on location, speed is often the essence. Love these steps coming down here. Let's just indicate those in. There's a nice gate right at the bottom with some curly-whirly iron going on. So that's nice. Won't get caught up in details, but that can at least sketch that lot in. And then we've got this sort of frontage here. Okay. And there's a big chimney that I haven't put there. Got some pointy sort of cowls there. And then the all-important lamppost. And why is that important? Because that's going to keep my bunting going. Actually, looking closer, I don't think there is bunting attached to that pole particularly. Oh, it is. Yeah, sorry, down here, down, then it comes up to here, and then there's a bit of bunting that goes right across here. Quite like this deep set window there. Put in the wrong line, don't worry about it, just put in the correct one and our eyes will read, you know, this sort of work, our eyes will absolutely read the correct line. Thank goodness. And we'll do that. So I've got the gist of this, haven't I? I mean, that's the gist of it. Don't know, that was only about, was that 5 minutes? And now I can refine, or I could get some colour on. A bit of foliage there. I think it might be wise to refine things. There's a sort of flower pot, but that gets hit by the cars all the time. And there is a doorway here. Let's get a bit of perspective on that. And there is another window there. Windowsill, bit of perspective on that, and this line up there. Okay, I'm going to use, that seemed a little bit thin. Let's work on what's going on here. I don't know quite, it's a bit hard to see. That's okay. Let's refine the things. That's a manhole cover there. I don't think we'll bother putting that in. Let's get that on there. Some sort of signage. Something else going on behind there. It's quite interesting because you haven't really got time to work out an awful lot what's going on. You know, you've just got to try and see relative to everything. There's a tiny window there. We need a bit of roof going on. That's interesting sort of thing going on up here. Another window down there. Some foliage, window box or something there. There's tiles going on this porch here. tiles going across here, quite like those. There's a bit of the house going up behind. Gosh, it really is a lot going on. Better get those flags in, because I want those sort of in front of the details, don't I? Doesn't really matter if they're in the right place, but it is important that they're in. There's more flags going up there. So I'm imagining this is a little Cornish village that's about to have its sort of annual regatta or something, which is rather lovely. So what have we got? Let's do something a bit more to make this look like a proper doorway with a letterbox. It's got the door frame. We've got tiles across here. We've got some sort of pillar, handrail along there, and then got the steps coming down. Can't really see the other side. Well, if we can't see it, we don't need to put it in. Sort of, this is more block work, which is quite fun. A bit more detail coming close to us helps bring the foreground forward. And there's some sort of hanging baskets around this door. Really can't see a lot of what's going on in there. Oh, just spotted another window I should have put in. Another nice lamp here. Interesting, the more you do look at things, the more you start seeing what's going on. There's pots and all sorts. I'm going to emphasize some of that. I might, because I decided that that sort of twist round the corner was nice. I'm going to put a line in the middle of the road. There isn't one, but I am trying to make a picture and lead the viewer to have a look and see what's going on. So I'm allowed to invent things if I want to. Okay, so I think, so I'm not really sure how much I've done here, but let's get some colour on. And I think the most important thing is to get some flags going. And I say it's not important that the red flag is red or whatever. We just want to get pretty colours and make sure those are there. Oh, that's not a pretty colour. That's because I should have wiped that off. That's better. Just wanted some blue in there. Down here. at all. Let's do a proper bluer one. We need more colour, and I think the best thing to do is to actually use some blue as the shadow colour here. So where the shadow is hitting the buildings, this side is more in shadow. There are shadows across the road. I think that will show that this side, yeah, the up here is more in shadow. Not quite sure why, but these steps seem to be a little shadowed. Some of that across there, and then I'm just going to pick up some sort of dirty palette colour just to put the roofs in a little. Trouble is, when you're sketching like this, the more water you put on, you do get nice loose flow of colour, but it will take longer to dry. So I'm going to stop the clock and let this dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use a slightly thicker pen and bring certain details forward. So we said right at the beginning this lamp was lovely and was an important part of the picture. So I'm going to bring that forward by thickening lines. So thick lines will come towards you, thin lines will feel further away. So if I do a bit more like that, that just brings the whole of that front edge nearer to us. And I'm going to do similar there. Then we've got this lovely gate we rather liked. So let's make more of that gate. Doesn't have to be hugely accurate, but by just doing slightly thicker lines and a little more detail, it will bring that. And luckily our eyes generally, if they see a little bit of detail, they will kind of assume that the rest is there. Just realised I've done something a little bit wrong there. I'd need the top and the bottom, and there are railings along there. Strengthen some of that block work and make it a bit chunkier in places, which might be fun. Let's put some detail around these here. porch there. Put the inside of the door will help. Like these keystones above this window, and again that will help bring that forward and just frame things a little for us. Don't need those fast steps. Right, what we do need is some bunting to come forward. These not so much because they're further away. Do want some of this foliage coming forward. It's always quite nice to put a few stones or a bit of gravel or something just to pull your eye forward. Could be chewing gum on the road for that matter. What it actually is irrelevant, but it just brings that sort of coming towards you. Quite like the overlapping lines in the bunting because it sort of gives it quite a flutter. Sort out my lamppost behind there. Not be tempted to put thicker lines on there because they are far away. Can't actually see those lines, but I think it would be good to have them there. And then I'm just going to fix that to the wall. Some good Cornish slate on this roof. And I think that's probably all I want to do. If I've got a few more minutes, which I'm really not sure I have, it might be nice to actually do a little bit of hatching with a very fine pen. This is a 0.1. Again, just to start to darken some things down and to give more of the impression of detail. So if you want to do that and you've got the time, that can be really nice. So once you've done a piece, in whatever time that took, it's always worth asking yourself, have you captured the feeling of the place? Is it, what you wanted out of that sketch? And I think I probably have, because it was all about that lovely, the bunting, and I've really let that come through. If I did this again, I must say a little bit of foliage would not go amiss, just to show that there are sort of window boxes and stuff going on. I think that would actually jolly it up a little bit more. And of course, what you might want to consider, because this is actually set obviously in some sort of cove, is whether you do want to do the background hill rather than a blue sky, which you might be expecting. You've got the background of that hill. I'm not sure that is actually going to add much and bring much to the party, but it would actually put it in its context. And if I were you, and if you're doing that, just to make sure that that's a far bluier and quite pale colour in the background rather than anything too bright, because that would really draw attention.